Good morning to one and all. In the previous class, we discussed about these dewatering techniques. How we have to use these dewatering techniques in different fields. That means we are having different kinds of soils and different kinds of soil having different places. That means different kinds of soil having different properties. Those properties are vary with their particle size, texture, shape, and plasticity properties. So that we are having different kinds of dewatering techniques for different fields itself. So that which kind of water technique is useful for a particular soil. All those we need to know. Why? Because we have to work in a different places for different projects, so that for our project with regarding to our soil properties, which method is suitable and which method is cost effective, all those things we need to know when we are having a deep knowledge on these dewatering techniques. So that we need to have to understand these phenomena and properties and techniques. First of all, in the previous class we discussed this permanent ground control system. In this permanent ground control system we have used this technique. Normally these techniques are prescribed by the American army. That means whenever in the American countries or foreign countries they are having a huge amount of these natural calamities. These natural calamities are occurring frequently in the foreign countries. Why? Because of their structures and other continents are located near to the seas and other physiological structures like these hills and other. Due to those things and other conditions, these tornadoes and calamities are frequently occurring. They have to mitigate those uncalamities, and they have to work on those, and they have to save some amount of their property. That means it belongs to the government, and they have to rescue the people. So that they are having different kinds of these techniques which are used to control the deflections and collapsing of some of the structures. So that they have to use this one, particularly groundwater system. Because a lot of climate is are associated with the particular amount of water. Whenever there is a tornado, that means they are nearer to the sea, automatically water will be falling onto the structures, and huge amount of wind forces, and normally rains, and they are having huge amount of snow loads. All those are acting on the structures itself. So that structure will be affected by those. They have to mitigate the forces which will be acting on the structure by using this different groundwater control system. Why? Because if there is any flow of water, that means some amount of penetration will be there on the particular soil. If there is a penetration, automatically the rising of groundwater level or a decrease on groundwater level due to the flowable properties. Water is in normally flowing fluid from one place to another place because of gravitational forces. This is the permanent groundwater control system. That means the groundwater flow will be controlled by a permanent method by raising these sumps and pumps and removing of total water and constructing a perennial structure around the required boundaries. Next one is the deep well and auxiliary vacuum system. That means they have to use some amount of vacuum pressure to remove the total quantity of water whichever is present in the particular soil or field itself. Next one we are having this Buoyancy effects on underground structures. That means mainly underground structure is our foundation or piles. Normally foundation is belongs to the structures like living structure. Normally these apartments and tall buildings, we have to use these foundations like deep footings and raft footing or mat foundation or isolated foundation, combined foundation. Normally these are used for the structural purposes which are used to living purpose and others. Normally those who are having a transportational purpose and architectural purposes. Normally some of the buildings have to built for architectural purpose and and some of the structures has to built for transportational purposes and traveling purposes. For those structures they have to bear a huge amount of moving loads and live loads. That means moving loads means normally transportation purpose means we have to use these bridges and other structures. Some of the cases we have to use these dams for storing structures. Likely for those structures they have to bear a huge amount of loads traveling on the structures. That means these bridges means they have to carry a transporting loads or moving loads. Normally dams also, in the top part of the dam we are having these roads and others for moving vehicles. Normally they have to use the huge amount of shear forces, so that to bear those kind of moving loads and shear loads for a particular structures, they have to use these deep foundations in the terms of pile foundation. Normally this pile foundation will observe in geotechnical engineering part 2, that means GTE 2, so that the in the particular structure whichever is lies below the ground level, the structure will have to bear these buoyancy forces which will be acts due to the entrainment of water onto the soil itself. This is a typical diagram explaining these buoyancy forces occurring against the foundation. That means normally we are having a foundation structure, bearing pressure will be applied on the foundation itself, so that against this foundation we are having these buoyancy forces or uplifting forces. Next one, this is the recharge of groundwater to prevent the settlement. Normally for a heavy structures or normal structures, we are having a groundwater below the ground level at very depths. That means a 30 feet or 40 feet normally we are occurring this groundwater. For a huge draft condition areas, we have to dig the wells up to 100 meters or 200 meters, particularly in few areas which is having a huge amount of water scarcity, so that these structures has to build with a normal foundation. Why? Because of we have a draft area, that means low water content. Normally in those areas, whenever there is a occurring of water and there is a availability of water nearer to the structure in few parts, so that in the few parts we have to use these digs and others to remove the water. And sometimes we have to use this percolation pits also to increase the groundwater level. Why? Because if all the water will be allowed to dry, that means if there is a huge amount of void will be there, automatically due to the void in the below the ground itself, they have to some amount of pressure, that means vacuum pressure will be on the structure, so that due to that vacuum pressure the total structure weight will be sinking day by day or month by month or year by year due to this void present in the particular structure. Whenever we are observing those kind of settlement in the particular structure, definitely we need to go to this groundwater measurement. That means up to which depth we are having this groundwater. In the previous case, whatever the depth we are having, but nowadays now whatever the depth we are having, we need to use those two conditions. That means we need to compare in the previous case and today's case, what is the groundwater availability conditions, is there any delimitation, so that to control those delimitation we need to surcharge or recharge particular amount of groundwater. Why? Because if groundwater is completely drying means automatically a huge amount of void is there. Due to those voids, a settlement will occurring on the structure, so that the total structure will be in a danger conditions. To remove those danger conditions to the structure, we have to surcharge or recharge some amount of water by using this kind of recharge groundwater techniques. This is also one of the important techniques. Next one we are having is this sand drains are dewatering a slope. That means in this sand drains, normally sand drains are used to remove the water or surcharge the water. Normally here we are having a sand drain. The total soil is here sandy soil up to particular limit. After that we are having this clay soil on the below the sandy soil. After that we are having this sand as a huge amount. Okay, now we are have to dig a particular well. That means the total well is having a particular depth. After that well we are having this sand drain. Why? Because this sand drain has to deposit particular amount of water onto the particular sand well, whatever we are having. This is the original groundwater table in the particular silty soil. That means we are having a particular dotted line in the bottom, but we are having a small dots particular, but here we are having a horizontal dotted line. Those line will indicates the availability of groundwater on particular fields, at what depth we are having this groundwater level. And next we are having is the groundwater table is due to sand drains. That means whenever we are having this sand drain, automatically the total groundwater will be decreasing. Why? Because these sand rains will absorb the total quantity of water whichever lies on the surrounding structure, so that automatically there may be a decrement of this groundwater level whenever we are having these sand drain like structures near to the building. You need to mind it. That means that is one of the important point. What are the purpose of constructing a sand drain? That means to decrease the water content in the groundwater level. That is the main purpose of the construction of these sand drains. Next one, we are having this average head at the line of the sand drains due to the pumping of well points. That means normally previous case we are having the groundwater level up to some content, but this sand drain decreases the groundwater content. And the next one, we are having beside a bore well. That means this well we are having due to this bore well also, some of the cases we have to decrease or increase whenever there is a draft condition. Automatically the water will be decreases due to usage. But whenever we are having these rainy seasons, automatically there may be a increment of this groundwater. Why? Because in the rainy season, automatically the borewell will absorb a huge amount of water whichever on the total surface, so that it is the purpose of sand drains for a dewatering a particular slopy areas. It is the purpose of the sand drain. Normally sand drains are used to absorb the water whichever is lies around the structures. Next one, we are having a different procedure, grout curtain or cut off trench around an excavation. That means excavation means normally this excavation is used to a trench amount of particular matter from the soil itself. Normally for the construction purpose we need to use these different kinds of equipments to dig the particular amount of soil from the particular fields due to constructional purpose of the foundations and others, to stabilize the particular quantity of the soils. So that we need to use these excavation techniques for different structures. The excavation is very high for tall structures, excavation is so low for the normal structures. Why? Because of the foundation conditions and others. Here we are using this clay or shale soils. We are having this clay or shale soils. After that we are having this grouting procedure, cut off trenches on both sides of the soil. Why? Because initial water table is up to some depth. After that we are having a sand layer. Next one, we are having here piezometers. Normally piezometers are used to measure the flow of water in the ground level and other conditions. Normally piezometers are used to measure the flow of the water table. These piezometers are normally available in the fluid mechanics labs and others. After that we are constructing a different walls to control the entrainment of the particular groundwater. These are the different techniques, grout curtain or cut off trench around the excavation. That means in the middle part itself we are having a huge amount of excavation. That is this is the total part of excavation. Okay, excavation. Around this excavation part we are constructing a particular trench. That means trench means normally for fields and others we are using these trenches. మనం కంచెలు అంటూ ఉంటాం. ఈ కంచెలు మనం పొలాల చుట్టూ వేస్తూ ఉంటాం to control these cattle which are coming onto the fields for their feeding purpose. Normally we are using these trenches to control the entrainment of water onto the particular fields. This is the main purpose, trenching. Next one, how we have to design. What are the parameters are responsible for the design? Most important input parameters for selecting and designing a dewatering system are the height of the groundwater above the base of the excavation. That means in which place we are going to do this excavation. At that particular places, what is the groundwater level? Is it above the groundwater or below the ground level, above the ground level or below the ground level. Those things we need to know by using some statistical data which was maintained by these governments. That means in a particular area or village or mandal, we are having some amount of statistical data. By using those statistical data, it means some amount of field engineers or site engineers are there in those particular areas, so that we have to go to them and collect the particular data for the fields. Normally it is a forest area or reserve area or field area. We have to observe before going to construction. First one is the height of the ground level above the base of the excavation. Next one is the permeability of the ground surrounding the excavation. That means permeability. Permeability means entrainment of water due to the presence of the voids in a particular surrounding fields. So that if the permeability is very high, means automatically a recharging of groundwater takes place year by year. The no permeability means automatically there is no recharge. Permeability means automatically recharge will be takes place onto the surrounding fields automatically due to this permeability. Our site also affected by this groundwater table, so that we need to take a precautionary measures. In the likely previous measures, we are observing these trenches and others are constructing. Some of the cases we are using these dig wells and boreholes, already sand wicks, all those are constructed in the field itself to control this groundwater level. Those are the two parameters we need to consider whenever we go for these designs. And next one, first one is the depth of the required groundwater by lowering techniques. That means we need to lower the groundwater level by particular amount. That means if there is a foundation, automatically at the foundation level we are having groundwater, so that we won't have to access to construct a particular foundation. So that we need to definitely decrease the groundwater by using these techniques or well points and other sand wicks or trenching methods, different methods to decrease the groundwater up to particular level. After that we won't have to decrease the groundwater. Why? Because if we totally decrease the groundwater, automatically due to huge amount of voids, we have to bear a settlement or shrinking of the structure. The water level should be lowered up to about 2 to 5 feet below the base of the excavation. That means whatever the structure we are having, up to which depth we have to use this excavation for construction of the foundation. Okay, from the foundation we need to have some amount of hard rock strata. Those rock strata will not allow the water into the structure. Because of hard rock strata means there is no permeable capacity to the particular strata, rock strata, so that automatically we have some amount of control of this groundwater into the structure. If there is no hard rock strata, automatically we have to implement these ground improvement techniques to control the entrainment of groundwater. So that we have to use different ground improvement techniques like stabilizations and other dewatering techniques previously observed. In the further chapters we have to go through different stabilizations like lime stabilization, cement stabilization, bitumen stabilizations. Likely we have to use these different different techniques. Okay, this is the original groundwater table and lowered groundwater table due to the usage of these pipes. That means normally these pipes are used to decrease the groundwater by using these vacuum pipes or any other pipes. Already previously we discussed about these pipe systems. Next we are having these methods of permeability. What are the different methods of permeability? How we need to calculate? Empirical formulas are there. Next one, laboratory permeability tests. Next, borehole packer tests, field pump tests. That means these are the different measuring techniques for the permeability. Empirical formulas. By using these empirical formulas, we are having some technical formulas. In those technical formulas, those are definitely having a relation with the soil properties. Whenever we have to go to a particular soil, we have to observe the soil and we need to take some amount of soil and we have to collect the particular properties and their data collections. After that we need to substitute into the empirical formulas. Definitely we will have the permeable value for that particular soil. Next one, laboratory permeability test. That means we need to collect a particular quantity of soil in a different levels. After that, we need to do these permeability tests in the laboratories itself. Next one, we are having borehole packer test. We need to dig these boreholes. After that, we need to observe these permeability levels by simply by removing some amount of water or any other. Next one, field pump test. That means in the field itself, we need to do pump some amount of water and we have to observe what is the permeability. It means whenever we have to pour some quantity of water onto the particular field, automatically there may be a flow or simply stacking or simply absorbing the soil. That means whenever we are having this water onto the particular field itself, there may be some amount of change into the field due to entrainment of water. If it is a black cotton soil, definitely it will absorb. Likely we are having different soils with different properties. So that by using these field pump tests, we need to observe permeability parameters and characteristics. Next, this is the Darcy law. These are all those laws are not useful to us, just for our memory purpose. That means we need to observe and we have to understand that forces only. Actual velocity equal to V equal to velocity equal to V by N. Q equal to, that means the discharge or flow. Discharge we are having a Q indicating with a Q word. K into A, that means IA, where I equal to H by L. Previously we are having average velocity flow. All those are depending upon Darcy's law. Typical permeability tests, that means different soils having different permeability levels. So that gravel, what is the range of this K value, and different soils, clean sand, medium coarse sand, homogeneous clays, shales, sandstones, limestone, fractured rocks. Why? Because we are having different coastal areas with different river basins and other things. So that each river having some amount of flowable properties and other things. So that we have two different areas. It means in the eastern area, that means we are having a huge amount of Himalayas, and western area we are having huge amount of these seas and others. Likely our topographical features also will have some influence on the formation of the different soils, so that we are having different properties and different flowable properties and others. This is the graph between the particle size and permeability. That means grain size and permeability. If the grain size is huge, automatically permeability also huge. If the grain size is very low, permeability also very low. This is the diagram we are showing. We are having different images. That means circle image, circle with dot, and rectangle, rectangle with S. All those are indication for the particle sizes and their distributions of permeabilities. Means a D10 and dically we are having. Where 10 D10 is the diameter of the particle size. This is the constant head test. These tests are conducted in the geotechnical labs to observe the permeability of the particular soil sample. K equal to QL by KH. Next one is the falling head test. These are the different tests we have to do in our master level. That means PG level, post graduation level, we have to observe these different tests. Next one, laboratory test methods for rigid wall test and flexible wall tests. We are having these formulas. Definitely ASTM means American standards for testing materials. We are using normally IS methods, that means Indian standard methods. Those are related to American standard methods. For your better understanding, I am using this PPT for presentation. This is the flexible and rigid wall. In this rigid wall, parameters are simple operators we are using. Leakage along the side walls possible, especially in sample strings. May use double ring equipment to discount the side wall leakage. In flexible, no side leakage is there. Effective stress varies. That means here we are using mainly two types of parameters. First one, rigid wall and flexible wall. In the rigid wall, there may be some amount of flow after the wall also, but in case of this flexible wall, there is no side leakages. This is the rigid wall parameters, the equipment showing how the rigid wall parameters are working. All those tubes are having, that means in the top of the level we have to use some amount of water. The water will flow through these pipes, and the soil we are having in the middle portion. How much amount of water will be flowing through the particular soil? Due to the pores, automatically water will comes onto the particular pipes arranged to the soil, so that we have to know what is the permeability property of the particular soil. Next one is the Shelby tube parameter. It is not in our syllabus. Next one, compaction permeameter. That means permeameter means permeability test you have to do in this compaction permeameter. With stand 4 in and 6 compaction moles for falling constant head permeability tests. Normally in our lab itself we are having constant head permeability tests. Simply the soil has some amount of water content. By applying loads onto the structure, what is the variation, how the soil will have to behave due to this application of load under some amount of water. All those things we have to observe. This is rigid wall parameter. Previously we were having rigid wall parameters and flexible wall parameters. This is the rigid wall construction to control the entrainment of water. Next one, double ring operators. Flexible wall parameters. In this flexible wall parameter also we are having this equipment pattern and others. This is the actual meter, how they have to test these flexible wall parameters. This is the K value, that means flowable constant K means centimeter per second. For each second, how much amount of water will be flowing through the particular soil itself. Those things I are having. What is the maximum values, I values? Field compaction tests, all those different tests we are having. These formulas are not useful for us. Why? Because it is entirely theoretical subjects. We need to know different methods which are employable on a particular structures. This is not a design subject. If it is a design subject, automatically we have to use these formulas and we need to go for the design of a particular shear walls or any other to control these water permeability tests. Next one is the spacing of deep wells. It is somewhat important we are having. The spacing of deep wells means normally deep wells are constructing to control the entrainment of water, and in some cases we have to excavate the water. That means excavation of water also takes place to decrease the groundwater level up to particular level from the foundation. The spacing of deep wells required equals the perimeter of the excavation divided by the number of wells required. I will show with the help of diagram. The spacing of deep wells required equalize the perimeter of the excavation divided by the number of wells required. That means this is the total land we are having. That means in the land itself we need to have some amount of grid patterns, so that in the grid patterns itself we need to have some quantity of means quantity means number simply. Here we are having total 9 or not 9. Here we are having total 12 grids. In those 12 grids, how many grids we need to use? These are deep wells. That means each grid, we have to use a particular deep well, or for each grid we need to use 2 deep wells. Depends upon the how much amount of water is having onto the particular structure. If the structure having too much of water, we need to use a particular quantity of the deep wells. Those number will be obtained by simply dividing the total area. That means the spacing will be spacing equal to total area by number of wells we are having. That means the total structure is there. In this total structure we need to have this quantity of grids, so that each grid we are having 12 grids we are having. In those 12 grids, first of all we need to calculate what is the area. Area will be obtained by multiplying this b by h. That means breadth into depth. Normally not height, here we need to use employ depth. Breadth into depth we have to use. B by d will get meter square area, particular number of having wells. Divided by wells, we need to have the spacing. Normally it is a what pipe. That means the pump, it is one kind of pump which is used to excavate or extract water from the particular pump. This is the head versus discharge of the pump. How we need to excavate, what is the values. Here we are having a totally 3 lines. That means the first stage, what is the pump, second stage and third stage. Total head in terms of feet, and a discharge in particular gallons per minute. That means what is the gallon means 28.3 liters or any other. Simply 1 gallon equal to 28 liters or any we are having. So that per each second how much amount of water we need to remove on the particular soil. We are having totally 3 pumps, first pump, second pump and third pump. If we remove from the first pump, we are having the value lies between 50 to 100. Continuously we are using the second pump also, we are having a value up to 150. If the both 3 pumps, all the pumps, that means 3 pumps are using, we are having a value up to 230, like that 240. So that for each second we have to remove particular quantity of water, 240 gallons of water for second. Up to from 3 feet, or we are having first 1.5 feet, 2 feet pump, 2-inch pump and 3 pump. That means that is the simply diameter of the pump, 1.5 inch pump, not inch, 1.5 feet. So we are having simply 1 means inch, 1 dash means inch, 2 dash means it is a feet. 1.5 feet pump, 2 feet pump, 3 feet pump. That means simply they are raising their diameter of the pump. It is 1.5, it is 2, automatically it is a 3 feet pump. Likely for each diameter of the pump having different permeability, different flowing properties. This is the head versus discharge for a pump. Here also we are having different diameters of a pipes. First one we are having a 3 feet pump, 4 feet pump, 6 feet pump and 8 feet pump. For those also we are having a different quantities of discharges. Those discharges also varies with respect to their diameter of the pump we are using. Okay, discharges in gallon per minute. That means for each minute how many amount of gallons are capturing by using these diameter pumps. 3 feet pumps where they are capturing up to some 390 are likely. After that we are having 4 feet pump. 4 feet pump having a capacity of 590 to 595 liters. That means 590 gallons per minute. After that we are having this 6 feet pump. 6 feet pump having a capacity of nearly 1290 or 1300 gallons per minute. After that we are having this 8 feet pump. 8 feet pump having a capacity of 1900, nearly 1900 gallons per minute. This is the head versus discharge. That means head means normally head of a pump. All you are aware this head in this fluid mechanism, suction head and delivery head. Okay, this is the normal pump we are having. This is the pump we are have to deliver a particular quantity of water. It is the central level. This is the discharge head. This is the section head. total head equal to section head plus discharge head. That means SD plus SH, HS plus HD, and normally section head plus delivery head. Those two things we have to consider, both section head and delivery head. Whenever we are using these centrifugals and reciprocating pumps, normally centrifugal pumps having a high discharge but low constant methods. Likely we are having different properties for different pumps. It is the next one, we are having this bottom stability of excavation. We need to observe and close for our better understanding properties. What are the different layers here we are having? First of all, we are having a silty sand on the top layer itself. On the top layer we are having original water level. Okay, after that silty sand we are having this clay, sand or silt soil. Clay or silt soil. After that we are having this sandy soil. Next one we are having clay or silty soil. This is the variation of the particular ground. That means particle sizes in layer to layer. In the starting layer we are having silty soil. After that we are having clay or silt which is impervious. That means due to those impervious layer, water is not absorbing to the below sands and clays. Why? Because of impervious layer means the layer doesn't allow water through it because of non-voids. That means non-permeability and no gaps in these structures or layers. First of all, above layer we are having a particular quantity of water. Those groundwater in the upper sand is removing by using these pumps. In the both sides we are having two pumps. After that here we are constructing a particular bore onto the sand. Why? Because sand also having a particular quantity of absorbing the water, so that in the sandy field also we are raising a particular pump to de-water. That means dewatering means totally we are removing the water from this sandy field also. This is the groundwater on up to the particular sand level, original water level. Due to these wall points on the each sides, we are decreasing the quantity of water onto the structure. This is the settlement of adjacent structure. What is the settlement of adjacent structure? Means if we are having a structure constructing nearer to the some structures, that means these conditions we will face in cities itself. Why? Because cities we are having a less quantity of the space, but we are having a huge amount of structures lying on the smaller areas. That means one structure to one structure we have to face some amount of distribution of these stresses and forces, so that we have to maintain some amount of gap between structure to structure to avoid this stress distribution from one structure to another structure. Normally these designers and other engineers doesn't give permission to construct a particular structure within the boundary limits. Why? Because these forces are heavy, automatically there will be a chance of collapse of two structures. Due to those kind of forces, we need to maintain a particular amount of gap between these high-rise structures. What is the settlement of adjacent structures? Means if there is a huge amount of structures are lying on a particular field itself, definitely we will have to go for these dewatering techniques. Why? Because a huge amount of load means automatically the groundwater table will be affected by these forces. Whenever we are having a particular material, so definitely we are applying a force onto the particular material, there may be a chance of, once I will with a particular material, automatically we are applying a force means there may be some amount of settlement. Likely we have to observe what is the side structures, what is the force applying onto the particular field, what is the structure we are having, is it necessary to construct or we need to go for a designal change. All those things. It is the particular delta means reduction of the particular volume. Examples. These are the different examples: plan, views and cross sections. and a design requirement, lowering the groundwater table up to 1.5 meters below the excavation. These are the radius changes and others. Simply I am showing, whenever you need to observe it close, simply you have to pause the video and observe it. This is the rate of flow of the wells, that means Q means discharge, is directly proportional to head, that means H equal to head of the particular well. It is a single well formula, Darcy formula, double well formula, whatever it having. It is the flow rate into the wells by using different flow nets. And pumping tests, either Darcy law, well formula, flow net formula, those three discharges comparing. Layout of the deep wells, that means particularly plan how we need to arrange these particular deep wells in a sequence. For that we need to connect one to one by using these synthetic materials. Why? Because the synthetic materials will have a capability to absorb the particular water onto the one field to another field. That means one well to another well. Definitely there may be a connection. This is the multiple well formulas.